way too much of the details, but I'm going to read an extract from it. This is an extract from chapter 7. I wrote it basically as a monologue. I was trying out a style of writing just to make sure that I could do a monologue. And this is a scene where one of the main characters, one of the boys, a guy called Winston, is explaining to a friend of his or an acquaintance called Russell that his brother, John, can see dead people, and rather he can see how you die. If he hears you or if he sees you, he will be able to tell you how you die and when you die, more importantly. So we went to the hospital the next day. John already knew, of course. He'd stayed awake the night, restrained to his bed because he wouldn't quiet, sobbing, screaming, and fighting to get out. He was yelling at the nurses, at the doctors, at everybody. He was telling them how they were all going to die, trying to get anyone to react and chewing his lips ragged. Christ, Russell whispered. Right. When we got there, he collapsed on me, refused to let me go, wouldn't look at anyone else. You have no idea how desperate he was to see me. I knew right at that moment I was never going to let him out of my sight, and I was never going to leave him alone again. Like I was his life raft in a sea of horror, as if I was the only thing in the world that made sense to him. The need in his eyes. I've never seen anyone need like that in my life, Winston muttered, his cheeks wet as he stared at the feet. I swore right then he was never going to need me that badly again, ever. I'd left him there, even if it wasn't me that took him, because he told me already. He told me that he could see how everyone died. And I didn't believe him. He told me about Dad, about Mum, about our neighbor, about our cat. I mean, can you believe that? He knew when our cat was going to get run over. It's everything. Animals, insects. I mean, it's everywhere he looks. He shook his head. And he told me he couldn't see mine. Get that. Out of every single thing he could see, he told me he couldn't see how I died. Not a hint. I'm the only thing in a world of dying things that keeps him sane. Winston looked up at Russell. Imagine. What a mindfuck. Could have been a coincidence, Russell said, almost afraid to ask. Not after the cat. You see, at first, Mum just wouldn't believe it. She was coping with Dad being gone, and John was locked in his room with his headphones on. I suggested that. That works really well. So Mum was really low and off work. She's a nurse, but stationed in the ear, no throat clinic. And she'd just stare out the window at the kids outside, or she'd sneak into John's room and cuddle him from behind whilst he was wearing his headphones with his eyes closed. I was doing everything, cooking, cleaning, as much as I could, like laundry. And she was just not there. Do you know what I mean? Russell nodded, not knowing what he meant at all, but knowing it was the right time to agree. So he kept telling her that Merlin was going to get run over. She'd not say anything, shrugged, that's all. And they kept on with it, like a running commentary, every day, like 30 days left, 25, 15. And she just nod and stare out the window. By then, she was more or less functioning again. And though we couldn't talk in front of John, we were kind of settling down. She started cooking again, and John would come out of his room with his headphones on and his sunglasses I'd spray black. He was starting to be part of the family again. And then we arrived at the day. Mum made sure that Merlin was locked in. Our cat carrier was broken, but the house was totally locked down. Every window was closed. The cat flap was covered. There was no way Merlin was getting out of there. It was Cat Knox in there, I'm telling you. Russell's burst of laughter rang out in the room. Winston's eyes shone as he remembered. What happened? Well, John's given us the running countdown, minute by minute, and it's getting closer to the time. And we're into the last 5 minutes. And we can see Mum getting tenser and tenser like she's about to blow. And I'm just cuddling Merlin for all I can because I love that cat. And I mean, he was fat and stupid and I only loved you at dinner times, but he was our cat. And there was no way I was letting John kill our cat. No way. No, sir. It ain't happening. And Mum starts yelling at John to shut up, to stop it. And you can see that some of her voice is getting through the headphones. He's screwing his face up because he can hear her. He can see her dying and he's losing his breath and rolling on a ball on the floor. And I'm watching it all unfold in front of me. I'm so tense. I'm squeezing Merlin so tight that he starts writhing in my hands, fighting me to get away. And I'm not letting that damn cat die. So I just hold tighter. The damn furball is scratching me and hissing, and John is shaking on the ground, and Mum is screaming at him because he's saying it's 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. And Mum is just screaming, shut up, shut up, shut up, you freak. And you can see the words hitting a death into his face, pounding the image of a death into his brain. But he still won't give up. And he's still screaming at her, and she's screaming at him, and then we hear the doorbell, and a key in the lock, and the door opening. I didn't even feel Merlin go. He was just gone. And there's our grandmother in the doorway, staring at us in shock, at John rolling on the floor, Mum standing over him, looking appalled at what she'd said, her hands covering her mouth as if she wanted to put the words back into where they came from, face red and puffy from crying, veins standing out on her forehead, and me, my hands bloody, my face streaked with scratches, small specks of blood in the cuts, looking wildly at the door. And then John said, 1.